Welcome to our how-to guide on how we create custom reports in Sugar CRM. In order to be able to create reports, you do need to have at least the professional edition of Sugar CRM. Since the community edition doesn't have this particular module in it. There are modules available for the CE edition, but they tend to be a little less intuitive than the professional edition. So, what I'm showing you here, I'm at the home page for my CRM, and let's say our marketing manager has come to us and asked us for a summary of all of our leads and where those leads have been coming from in the last 12 months. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create him a report, and I'm going to add that report to his dashboard so that he doesn't need to go and search for it each and every time. So I'm going to go to my reports module, hit create report, and I'm presented with the option of which report to choose. Now, 95% of the reports that we create are going to be summation reports with details. Okay, there is the option where we may create a report and rows and columns report, and that's generally where the client wants to be able to export as Excel data, and that's really all they want to be able to do. Summation report is a graph-based report. Summation report with details gives us the best of both worlds. So it provides us with a graphical chart that provides a quick summary view of our metric that we're trying to measure, but also allows us to drill down into that information and see the rows within the report, or the data that makes up that report, so that we can then see additional information if we choose to. Now, because it has that graphical chart element, we are able to add that report to our homepage dashboards. Okay, and finally, the matrix report is where we need to see complex data sets in a table format, and generally with more than just a couple of groupings. Similar to rows and columns, but with a bit more capability around presenting our data. Okay, but most of the time it's going to be a summation report with details. Okay, so we're going to select that. Now, because my marketing manager wants to see a summary around our leads, okay, I'm going to select my leads module. Now, there are a number of steps here. Okay, the first step is to define our filters. Our filters are well, exactly as they sound. We want to exclude data that's not relevant to our report. So in this case, our marketing manager wants to see information that's relatively recent, okay, but he wants to see enough to be able to get a trend. Okay, so we're going to add the date created field as a filter, and I'm going to set it to this year. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to a runtime field, and what that allows me to do is it gives me two key options. One, because I've selected a dynamic option here, so this year, last 30 days, last 7 days, and so on, those time periods are going to dynamically change depending on when we run the report. So if it's last 7 days, the data set is always going to show the last 7 days worth of data. Okay, if it's this year, it'll show the data from the start of this year, and obviously that will reset on January 1st every year. Okay, and by making it runtime, the user can then change that variable as part of running that report, and specifically look at a date range if they choose to. Okay, so we'll set that to this year. Okay, and we can add as many filters as we like. Okay, the next step is to define what we're going to group the data by. This is really critical to understanding how the chart's going to come out. So in order to chart any information, that information needs to be grouped in some way. Okay, and the reason for that is that we can't graph a total on its own. Let's say we're trying to get an idea of, in this case, total leads by lead source. Okay, lead source is what we're grouping by. because having total leads just gives us the total number of leads within a period. It doesn't tell us anything about the breakdown of those leads, how they're coming into us, and so on. So we need to pick some way to group the data. Okay, so I'm going to select lead source as my first group by. And the second thing I'm going to do, just to make this a bit more interesting, is I'm going to group by the month that we received that lead. And what that's going to let me do is I want to see on a month-by-month basis what is the breakdown of where our leads are coming from. Okay, so I want to see month along the horizontal axis. So the first grouped field goes along the horizontal axis, and then from there we see different colours on the chart for the second parameter there, and you'll see what that means in just a sec. So I should say that you are limited to really grouping by, well, you're not limited, but in order to graphically represent something, 2 group by fields is really all you can do, just from a 2D versus 3D visualization requirement. Okay, so I'm now going to select the summary that I want to display. So in this case, I want to display the number of leads, okay, grouped by the month it was created and where it was created from, okay. And obviously I have the ability to report on any one of my numerical metrics. So average, sum, maximum, minimum of all of my numeric fields. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to now go next, and finally our display columns. When we want to drill down into the report, we want to select which fields we actually see in the table below the chart. So from here, I'm going to select the name of our leads. Okay, we can include lead source if we like, but because the data is grouped by lead source, it gives us that at the top of each grouped data set. Okay, we might want to see the exact date it was created. Okay, what their inquiry was. Okay, what the end status was. Okay, and perhaps what their company name was. Okay, now I use the filter there just to quick access the fields because I know roughly what they're called. Simply an efficiency thing. Okay, now don't sort by. Just a bit of advice for now. It is a known bug in version 6.5 in that if you're grouping data and sorting, some of those calculations don't quite come out right. I understand it's going to be fixed in the upcoming version, but something to stay clear of. Okay, finally we get to select our chart. So I'm a fan of the vertical bar chart because it allows us to group multiple values quite clearly. Okay. Alright, select which data series to display. Okay, now we're going to display the count. Okay, and I generally always leave the description empty because there's no need to put a description there and in the report description. If we leave that blank, the chart will get the description of the report. Okay, so we're going to name our chart total leads by lead source by per month. So total leads grouped by lead source per month. Okay, and finally I'm going to save that data. Okay. So what we can see there, because a large amount of my data is demo data that comes with Sugar CRM, what we can see is that a whole bunch of that data was created when I installed the demo system, and we can see a breakdown as well as the associated percentage composition of where all of our leads are coming from. Okay, and obviously one over or a couple over in May. Okay, now if I scroll down, I can see all of the leads grouped by lead source and when they were created. Okay, and from there I can drill down on it, I can edit them, I can do all that sort of thing. Now, final step, now that we've created our report, is to add it to a dashboard. So I'm going to go and create a new dashboard here and call this Analytics. I'd call it Marketing, but we already have a Marketing tab there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Sugar Dashlet. I'm going to add a chart. Okay, Global Team Reports. Okay, because I assigned it to the global team. Okay, and I'm going to call, and this was called Total Leads grouped by lead source per month. Okay, so now in future, when this user accesses the CRM, okay, they will always have that report on their dashboard. You can add multiple reports to a dashboard, and then they can simply always drill down from there if they would like to learn more information. Okay, all right, so that concludes our how-to guide on creating reports within Sugar CRM.